Today we'll talk a little more about A Gest of Robin Hood, a game by Frederick Serval, published by GMT Games. I thought that I will create series of materials which will explain this game, explain also the factions here, and then show also the gameplay. The idea is for the materials not to be overly long. I believe it's much easier to digest 4 materials, 20-30 minutes each, than one long 2 hours material. So what shall we do? We'll create 4 materials. First will be a general overview and explanation of the rules. This is exactly what we are doing here. The second and third material will be about Robin Hood and Sheriff. We'll talk about their special abilities, deeds, plots, but also strategy considerations. And I believe I will also create a short fourth material that might be a bit longer, which will show the actual playthrough of the game. All materials should be condensed, precise, and as I said, pretty short, so you can easily digest them. And hopefully, based on them, learn the game and have fun with this game. I already created the first look and overview material. I suggest you to check it, the link in the description, so you can also learn more about how the game was created, what was the idea of Fred when he was creating this, what was the story of this game, and also some additional interesting information. Enough to say, we are actually in the Nottingham Shire, I believe. This is based on the legend of the Robin Hood, who was fighting with the, evil sheriff, while the King Richard was away. I believe it was King Richard, yeah, on crusades. What we will talk about today is the map, the game mechanics, a bit about the components, also victory conditions, and how all this gets together. So let's start from the basic concepts. First of all, with a two-player game, one player is the Robin Hood. All green components, which you can see here, are his. The second player is the Sheriff of Nottingham, and he has those gray components, yeah, which you can see here. Also, here is the gray part, which will be justice connected with the Robin Hood and order connected with the Sheriff of Nottingham. The game will be played over 3 ballads, and those ballads will be driven by the events, and at the end of each ballad we'll have a royal inspection or maybe arrival of the king. And this is how the game is structured. In essence, this is not a very long game. When you learn the rules, you will play it in around 60 minutes, I believe. So this is the general course of the play. Now, let's dive into the map. This is a map of a Nottinghamshire. This is a beautiful map. I can tell you guys, when I first saw this, it was really astonishing to me, and yeah, it's still making a great impression on me. What do we have on the map? First of all, we have Nottingham. So the city of Nottingham, where the sheriff is based, and this is his, let's say, seat of power, and from where he is actually then going outside to try to catch the Robin Hood. Then we have parishes, and there is, I believe, 7 parishes. So this is a parish, you can see, this is the border of the parish, this is the name of the parish, and this is the attitude of the parish to the sheriff. It can be revolting, it can be submissive, or it can be passive. Passive is very rare occasion. Usually they are revolting against the order, against the sheriff, or they are simply submissive. So this is one, Ramston, which is at the beginning in the setup rebelling, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are submissive. I would like to draw your attention when we talk about the parishes to the borders. Here are the borders, but the river is also the border. So, for example, you cannot move from here to here because there is no bridge here. Also, what oftentimes people miss is that Nottingham is not adjacent to Ramston. There is no bridge here. In order to get from Ramston to Nottingham, you need to go like this. Another important feature of the map are the roads. You can see them here. Here they are. And here another road. Here is the bridge, actual bridge. As you can see, all the roads which are entering Nottingham goes through the woods, through the Shire Wood, and this is Southwell Forest. So this path goes here, and this path goes here. What does it mean? This is a perfect spot for Robin Hood to do some things to the carriages which will be traveling here. Allerton Hill is not in play as long as some event is not played on the Robin Hood side, but at the beginning of the game, it's out of play. The forests, yeah, we have not said anything about the forests. So I told you that the parish can be either submissive or revolting. The forest is never submissive or revolting, so this is very important when you will be performing some deeds and plots. For example, the plot will be saying that you cannot do something if the space is submissive. Definitely, this is not a submissive space. Yeah, this is a forest. On the other hand, Nottingham is always submissive and cannot be revolting ever. So this is also important for some plots and deeds. Yeah. What else do we have on the map? Here we have a prison when Robin Hood will be trying to rob the travelers or maybe rob the carriages from the sheriff and they fail. It might occur that they will be landing in the prison. At the end of each ballad, half of the merry men will be released. Here we have a royal inspection, so it actually tells you what to do, pretty procedural at the end of each ballad. Here we have the actual victory points track, and I like this track because this track shows where the royal favor is now. It can be on the order side, it can be on the justice side. Look that there is no zero. So when, for example, Robin Hood scores a point, it moves from 1 on order to 1 on justice. And of course, the game will end. When the game will end, the side which has this, pawn on their side will simply win. We have also initiative track. We'll talk about it in a moment. Very important part of the game. And we have also the space for the used carriages. So during each ballad, the sheriff will have 6 carriages, and when they use a carriage, they cannot use it. It's refreshed every ballad, but cannot be used in the same ballad. Yeah, again. And I believe that's majority of the map. As you see, not overly complex, but astonishingly beautiful. Let's talk now about the components. What kind of components do we have? First of all, on the Robin Hood side, we have merrymen. You can see this is a merryman with a feather, yeah, I believe. And one of them is RRH, Robin Hood. So this game has hidden information in that case that the sheriff does not know where the Robin Hood is. You can have many merrymen here. I believe up to 10, and one of them will be Robin Hood. And yeah, this is also a tricky thing for the Robin Hood when to reveal the Robin Hood, and of course execute some, I don't know, brave deed. So these are merry men. We have also camps. The camp is two-sided. If a camp is built that way in the forest, that means that the camp will bring 1 shilling every turn to the Robin Hood, and only camps built in the forests will be on this side. When the camp will be built in the regular parish, it will be on this side, and it will simply give a victory point to the Robin Hood, but no money. So these are Robin Hood, let's say, components. There are 2 additional things. The dice. These dice are used when you try to rob with Robin Hood. The white die is used in the regular parish. The green one is used in the forest. Of course, it has better parameters because it's easier to rob in the forest. You would have also the pawns showing the initiative track, yeah, who is first eligible, who is second eligible. And then let's look at the sheriff components. First of all, we have henchmen. This is one side, yeah, there is nothing on the other side. So these are the henchmen. They start with the 5 at the beginning. And then we have carriages. There will be 3 types of carriages. We'll discuss them when we will be discussing in detail sheriff faction. So let's have a look here. I hope you can see it. Yeah, and as for the components, I believe that's all. Shillings are used to pay for various actions, and you can earn them. And there are 2 types of shilling. I believe this is a free shilling, and this is 1 silver and gold. Yeah, so you will be using this across the game. It's possible, of course, to replace them with some nice metal coins, which will be also very cool. Yep. So that's all for the components. Let us talk now a little bit about the initiative track and events. So, initiative track. This game is, I would say, coin adjacent. Actually, it says that this is volume 2 in irregular conflict series of GMT. Yeah, so you can see it here. Although I call it also as a coin adjacent game, which means that you have the similar to other coin games track. This track, which is here, is a specific one. This is one designed for the 2-player game, and you saw this first time in the British way. How does it work for 2 players? So the first eligible player can choose one of those 3 options. They can perform a single plot, so a regular action in one of the parishes. They can take the event, or they can take plots and deeds. That means they can execute plot usually in maximum 3 parishes and add some very powerful deed to this. Then let's assume that the Robin Hood is taking plots and deeds. Then the sheriff has an option to choose one of the 2 which are left, so single plot or event. Let's assume they take the event. And then at the end of the turn, both pawns are moved here, and you can see that it's now sheriff who will be first eligible in the next turn. One more thing which is important is sometimes you need some money, so you would like to pass, for example, to get the money. If Robin Hood would like to pass, he needs to move himself to one of those 3 spaces. Again, it can be event, and if they move here and pass, they will gain 1 shilling. They gain 1 shilling regardless of the option they choose, but the event cannot be executed. And this is a very nice way of preventing the other faction to execute the event. When the sheriff passes, it depends where he puts his pawn. If he passes on plots and deeds, he gets 3 shilling. If he passes on single plot, he will gain 1 shilling. Of course, if you pass, you still look at the eligibility order at the end of the turn, and it will decide who will be first and who will be second during the next turn. So very elegant, I would say, initiative track. Coin like, I would say coin-like, but for the 2 players. Very elegant, and I believe what Fred wrote in the designer notes that he borrowed this with pride because it is such a good solution. And I believe, for 2-player coin adjacent games, this is perfect solution. Now the events. Let's talk about the events, and let me come closer to you. First of all, the events are the tarot-sized cards, which look beautiful, and actually does not look like the regular coin event. In regular coin games, you would have four factions. You would have their, symbols here, yeah, their logos over there. Here we have the name of the event, a beautiful picture, a special number which shows how much the sheriff needs to move carriages. We'll talk about it later on when we talk about the sheriff. And two events. Usually the first event, unshaded one, is a good for Robin Hood. The shaded one is a good for the sheriff. Important note to the rules, which were slightly augmented in the explanation and errata. You can only use your event. You cannot execute your opponent event. So Robin Hood can only execute this. The sheriff can only execute this. And there is a plethora of events which actually are connected to large extent to this tale of Robin Hood, of course. How do we create the deck of events for the game? And I believe this is pretty important because this will be driving the actual gameplay. Um, Before I do it, and I will show this to you from the rulebook, there's one more thing which I wanted to present here. These are called fortune events. So we have a regular events, but there will be also so-called fortune events inside of the deck. And those events are being executed immediately. Both sides can do something during the fortune event. And nobody executes plots and deeds. So the eligibility stays as it is, and you simply execute this fortune event. Beautiful. I really like how the cards were created. This game has a very high production value. Really love the look of this. Yes, let me show you how you create the deck. And I will use the rulebook for this because this is really elegantly written down. So you shuffle all the regular events. You take two regular, then you take four regular events and shuffle with one fortune event, and you add royal inspection. So you have 2 plus 4 plus 1, 7 events before the royal inspection. You do similar thing here, two regular, 4 with one fortune shuffled, this at the top, this in the middle, this at the bottom. And then you do for the third ballot similarly, but you have King Richard's return. And yeah, King Richard's return means that you will simply be checking the victory condition. After each and every ballot, you would have a royal inspection, and this will be two phases of a full royal inspection. This will be very short royal inspection because it's only checking victory points and who is winning. Yeah, simply who is winning. This show us in brief what will be happening during the royal inspection. So we will have first of all unrest phase. We will be checking how many parishes are revolting, how many are submissive, and we'll be adjusting the victory points. We'll be then checking also the victory conditions. About this we'll talk in a moment. Then we have mischief. In the mischief, Robin Hood is gaining money and also can do a single plot. Then you have governance phase, in which the sheriff gains some money and can actually his troops in the revolting parishes will be diminishing. Yeah, there will be less than this, and they can actually squash also the revolt during this phase. Then we have redeployment, where we'll be moving the pieces on the map and reset all the pieces. For example, flip all merrymen to the hidden. One thing which you might ask, okay, how do we win in this game? So first of all, I told you about the victory track. After every ballot, during the royal inspection, in the unrest phase, you will be checking for the victory. You don't check for victory during the regular events play. You check only during the royal inspection. And how do you check it? After the first or second ballot during royal inspection, you check if this pawn is in the area of 5 to 7 on order or 5 to 7 on justice, which means an automatic victory by the side where it is. So the game can finish prematurely after first ballot or after the second ballot if the pawn is in this darkened part. If it's up to 4 on each side, that's okay. But if one side gains such a big advantage that they have 5 or more, on their side, they will automatically win. Remember that this is adjusted just before checking victory conditions with a status on the map and how many parishes are revolting and how many parishes are submissive. Just to tell you, how does it work? If 5 to 7 submissive parishes will shift one step toward order. So in this case, when we have 6 submissive parishes, we will flip here. But if we would had such difficult for sheriff situation, so in this case we have 5 revolting parishes, 2 submissive. We look here, 1 to 2 submissive parishes shift 2 steps toward justice. So the actual situation can change just before checking the victory conditions. This is the last step when it can be influenced and can be changed. After the third ballot, so after when the King Richard is coming back, you will simply look where this pawn is, whether it's on the order side, when of course sheriff gains the royal favor, or whether it's on the justice side, when of course Robin Hood gains the royal favor. At the end of the third ballot, it's simply who has advantage over the opponent. And I really like how climatic this is, justice on the side of the Robin Hood and order on the side of the sheriff. That seems really, really, really great, regarding this. And I believe this is also very nicely phrased. Justice, order. I also like that we have plots and deeds, not special operations and actions like in a regular coins. So guys, this is a very brief introduction. I believe we went through all main mechanics of the Robin Hood. You might ask me, okay, Michał, but this video has like 20-25 minutes. Have you really covered everything for the Robin Hood? Actually, I have 2 things to add. How the Robin Hood and Sheriff are working, but except for this, yes, this is not overly complex game, and I believe you will like how does it look like, and you will really like how quickly it plays and how straightforward it is. Remember, when Fred was creating this game, the idea was to create a game which can be an entry point to the coin world. The coin games are regarded as a heavy and long games. In some cases, this is true. I believe that regular players might not be so inclined to start with, for example, Fire in the Lake. On the other hand, also the theme is very attractive. Robin Hood. Who have not heard about Robin Hood? So I believe this game was designed, and this was a good idea in order to attract more people to our beloved hobby. And I really hope that we'll have more players, more board game, war game, people, in our hobby. Okay, guys. So this concludes the first material. As I told you, I prefer to create several shorter. In the second and third, we'll look at the plots and deeds of Robin Hood and Sheriff, and also on the strategic considerations, not only explaining the rules, but also showing what is good for them. In the fourth, we'll do a very short playthrough so you can see Robin Hood in action. That's all for today. Thank you very much for being with me. Please give thumbs up if you liked this video. Don't hesitate to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye.